Hello everyone, Alex Slayer. Today I'm going to present to you the new live coding feature of MachinekitClient. So first let's start the MachinekitClient. We see I have a Machinekit instance running here, but for this quick tutorial I'm going to start a new Machinekit instance. For this purpose, I'm going to use a pre-assembled MachinekitClient configuration, the so-called end demo. It's a very simple and basic demonstration project. So first I'm cloning the repository to my local computer. Now let's take a look inside of the directory. We have here a very basic MachinekitClient configuration with a run.py launcher file, let's say, an end demo py, which is basically the HAL Python configuration, a launcher ini, which is used for when you use MKLauncher, you can start the configuration with this ini file, and here inside of the end demo directory we have the user interface. So let's start with starting an MKLauncher inside of this directory. Okay, we see I have remote disabled. So let's enable remote here. So this is something you have to do when you want to start working with Machine Talk. The first time you configure your system, you have to set remote to 1 in order to enable Machine Talk to talk to the network interfaces. So now we can start MKLauncher, and as we see here we have a second MachinekIt instance, which is my local computer. And as we can see here, we have two user interfaces that are MachinekIt configurations that come with the example. One just starts the end demo configuration. The second one also starts an HAL scope. So for this tutorial, I will start the very basic end demo project. Now that it's started, we see we have the remote user interfaces here and also the local user interfaces. I quickly show you the very basic user interfaces that comes with the project. It's just like 2 buttons and 1 LED. And now I'm going to modify this very simple user interface with the live coding application that can be found inside of the local user interfaces. And the very nice thing about this is you don't have to install Qt SDK or Qt Creator in order to work with the live coding. So I'm going to start it now. And now I have to select the correct project folder, which I created previously. Let's open the end demo project, and then inside the end demo project the subfolder, which contains the main Qt project basically, and then we have to open the actual user interface. So I'm going to open the user interface now, and as we can see here we have the exact same UI up and running. Now we can start coding by pressing the edit button. And on my system it starts Qt Creator because it's the default application for editing QML files. But basically you can use any kind of editor to modify the files. So the first time you press this, it may ask you which editor to use actually. So let's say we want to have a nicer button here. Instead of the default help button, we can just add, let's say we want to change the name of the button. So let's call this first button. When we save the file, we see the user interface automatically reloads. Okay, so this was a typo. And we can instantly work with the new user interface. And so when we use this kind of coding or programming paradigm, we basically can edit the files and at the same time see the results of what we actually do. So I'm going to rename the second button as well. Sorry, that's the wrong thing to edit here. Let's call it second button. And as you can see here, the UI automatically changes and adapts to the to our changes. So let's do something more sophisticated here. Let's just add a nicer button. Let's create a new QML file. You can do this very quickly and easily with QtQuickVcp, of course, but you can use any sort of text editor here. Let's call it fancy button .qml. No, we will not add it to Git. And here we go. We have the fancy button now. For a start, let's make it a very nice red rectangle with text inside. And let's split this up and open the end demo file. Let's use our nice new fancy button here. Okay, here we go. Of course, the button is not complete at the moment. Let's add a text property. And let's make the button size adaptable to the size of the text. And now let's set a default text here. Maybe let's edit after the center in text. Let's call it default or dummy. And as we can see here, we have a very basic component. Now let's also align this button in the center of our user interface. And let's make it a little bit nicer. By first of all increasing the size of the button so it has some space around the text. Then let's add some radius so it's looking a little bit fancier. Okay. Then let's add a very simple border. Okay, now we have a somewhat fancy button here. Now, of course, we have to add, since this is just a rectangle right at the moment, we have to add a mouse area, so we can add some functionality. Then we have to add a signal. Oh, what? Sorry. Signal, of course. Clicked. Unclicked. Root.clicked. Now we forward the clicked signal of the mouse area to the parent QML component. And since we want to make it look even nicer, we can add a cute pointing hand cursor. So when we move the mouse over the button, we can see it's showing a pointing hand. Then next, let's add some kind of highlighting feature when we move the mouse cursor over the button. For this purpose, I enabled hover enabled of the mouse area. Also have to give the mouse area a name since we will use it right now. Here we go. Mouse area contains mouse. Then we will make it yellow, and if not, it should be red. So here we go. Now we have a very simple and fancy button. The next thing, we want to make the button hell enabled. For this purpose, I import MachinekitHellRemote 1.0. Now we can add a hell pin to the button. Let's call it pin. And as we see here, we instantly get an error that we have now too many pins inside our hell remote component. So this is correct since we have now 1, 2, 3 and the 4th pin inside our fancy button. And our hell remote window, or hell application window, actually tries to match the pin number of the actual remote component on the MachineKit side. So now we have to add the actual name for our pin. Then we can disable the first button here, and let's use the button 0, and we see now it works since we have the correct pin inside our component. Next, we have to set the correct pin direction. This is hellpin dot output, and the correct pin type. This is hellpin dot bit, right. Next, now the button still has no functionality. Next, we can add a binding with the target root, or let's add a checked property here. Property checked false. target root, the property is checked, and the value is pin.value. Let's add another binding, so we have a two-way binding here. The target is pin, the property is value, and the value is root.checked. Okay, here we go. Now, of course, we need to set the actual checked value. Let's add another property. Bool checkable. Set this to false by default. If root.checkable, root.checked is not root.checked. So when checking a checkable is enabled, we toggle the checked property of the root item. And now here we add an additional color for the checked property. So we just checked here. When it's checked, then we make the button blue, and if not, we use the default settings. Okay, we see here now it's checked. Next, we need to make our button checkable. And we see we can make it checked or unchecked. If it's checked, it should set the help into true. If it's not checked, it doesn't set the help into true, of course. And last but not least, I will change the text of our button. Okay, I see blue is a very bad color, so let's use light blue, or even better, let's use orange here. Okay, so it's orange if it's checked, it's red if it's not checked, and it's yellow when we hover it with the mouse. Now we can remove the old button, and we see we have a fancy button here, and yeah, that's it. So that's it for the tutorial. Hope you have enjoyed it and have seen that QML live coding is very powerful, as you can instantly see the changes in the components, and also that you don't require actually a Qt SDK or Qt Creator to work with to edit the QtQuickVcp user interfaces. So right now I have used Qt Creator because it's my default QML editor, but I can prove to you actually that I can use any other editor. So I've opened Kate right now, and let's open the same file with Kate. As you can see, it's the same code here, just with another text editor. Kate actually has also very nice QML code highlighting. And let's add the QSTR, the Qt translation wrapper function here, and you see it also reloads without any problems. So basically you can use any kind of text editor here. And also you can modify the files inside of the directory where the main file is located. And you can add, for example, images or icons or whatever, and it also will automatically reload. Yeah, and I hope, last but not least, I can also show you that now, since we have directly modified the files on our computer, it should automatically use this user interface when we connect here. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have enjoyed it, and I would be very grateful if you can give feedback and if you share this video. Thanks.